In the battle for power between the left and right in the USA, the nomination of J.D. Vance as candidate for vice president was applauded by many conservative commentators as a game changer. J.D. is the first millennial to appear on an American presidential ticket. J.D. is a Roman Catholic who is a student of the Latin Mass and given to quoting St. Augustine. For Vance, the attraction of religion is its strangeness. In an essay on his conversion, he frames his Catholicism as a form of dissent. Recently, a report into the next generation of Catholic priests finds overwhelming conservatism. Progressive seminarians are, it appears, an extinct species. The modernizing Catholicism of tambourines and inclusive language is the preserve of aging priests who came of age in the 1970s. Meanwhile, the traditional Catholic movement that makes a fetish of the bits of the faith that tend to embarrass liberal believers, veils, Latin, the veneration of relics, is enjoying a fashion among metropolitan hipsters. New York's hottest club is the Catholic Church, according to a headline in the New York Times. It appears that the appeal of Christian faith is no longer that it inducts you into the moral mainstream, but that it offers an exclusive identity. To some young people raised in a post-religious environment, Christianity has taken on something of the exotic appeal of Buddhism in the 1960s. Columnist James Marriott writes about Ahyan Hirsi Ali, a former star of the new atheist movement, who recently converted to Christianity, and in the words of Marriott, is typical in framing her faith in identitarian rather than ethical or spiritual terms. It is a matter of defending Western civilization and the Judeo-Christian tradition. This is Christianity in the age of identity politics. Priest theologian Thomas Halleck asserts, "I am convinced that the Church's salvation will come from neither the right nor the left, from neither the past, if we want to escape into it, nor the future, if we want to plan it according to our notions, nor yet from above. Positive change can only come from depth, profound theological and spiritual renewal." Poet W.H. Auden, who died just over 50 years ago, described his upbringing as unusually devout, but not in the least repressive or gloomy. When asked about his drift from the Anglican Church, he replied, "To say I lost my faith is melodramatic and false. I simply lost interest." In June 1933, Auden described a personal experience with the following words: "I felt myself invaded by a power which, though I consented to it, was irresistible and certainly not mine. For the first time in my life, I knew exactly, because thanks to the power I was doing it, what it means to love one's neighbor as oneself." It's an experience he explores in one of his greatest poems, A Summer Night, with its famous opening line, "Out on the lawn I lie in bed." This line of poetry almost mystically transports me back into the middle of John's Gospel passage where 5,000 hungry people are sitting on plentiful grass and where bread and fish are multiplied in abundance. There were no veils, liturgical language, or relics, but a young boy who comes forth when none of the adults would, and he acts from an attitude of trust and hope that there will always be enough. W.H. Auden, on looking back when he was older on his return to faith, shared, "I thought humanist values can exist without a theological basis," adding that I finally came to the conclusion that they couldn't. Today, it seems true that trendy churches are declining, while conservative ones prosper. This, in the words of James Marriott, is less a matter of go woke, go broke, than of basic sociology. Everything we know about human social behavior suggests that groups are bonded by defining themselves against outsiders and by practicing distinctive rituals that may strike the uninitiated as illogical or extreme. Remember what Halleck argues: positive change can come only from depth, profound theological and spiritual renewal. Longing for this renewal, I ask you to think aloud with me about the following question: where would the crowd of 5,000 have been that day if a little boy hadn't come forward in faith? Amen.